What's up, guys? It's MMA Vulture coming at you live with this week's best UFC bets for UFC Seattle, Cejudo versus Song. And I'm excited for this week's cards. I think that there are a lot of banger fights on this fight card, and I'm excited to get into it. Let's go ahead and jump right into it with my lock of the week being Rob Font over Gene Matsumoto. I think that Rob Font, skill for skill, is a lot better than Gene Matsumoto. Matsumoto has never been up against the level of competition of Rob Font. He has wins over Brad Katona, where he got pieced up in a round and lost a round. And then you have the win over Dan Argueta, where he looked good in that fight. But ultimately, neither of those guys are at the skill level of Rob Font. Rob Font literally just got done fraud checking Kyler Phillips, which many of us thought was the next person up. No, Rob Font is somebody who is a veteran, who's almost 38, and still fights like a prospect. His striking is phenomenal. His jab is quick, clean, which I believe he's going to be using here against Matsumoto to maintain that distance, kind of keep him at bay. I also see him using the grappling to defensively stay on his feet. I think he's going to snub the takedowns of Matsumoto, keep this on the feet, outstrike him, outdamage him, and pick him apart. I really do. I think that Matsumoto has decent striking with really, really good kicks. But other than that, I think Rob Font is at the striking advantage. I think that he's cleaner. I think he's quicker. I think that he has more accuracy in his shots. I like Rob Font, and I can't believe he's sitting at plus 125. I really think that Rob Font is live to beat Gene Matsumoto. I really think that Gene Matsumoto, skill for skill wise, is not better than Kyler Phillips. Kyler Phillips is a lot better and has been up against better competition, whereas Gene Matsumoto has been up against Brad Katona, two-time tough winner, and then Dan Argueta before that, and you guys think that he's going to beat Rob Font? No way. No way. Rob Font is too crafty. He's a very, very slick striker. I got to go with him. I think that striking-wise, Rob Font is at that advantage. I think grappling-wise, Gene Matsumoto has the grappling advantage, but I think Rob Font is going to be able to defensively use his grappling to stay on the feet, outstrike, outpick apart, and outdamage a Gene Matsumoto. And let's go ahead and run it to my confident picks of this week in Gene Silva to start it off with. I think that Gene Silva beats Melzik Bagdasaryan. I think Bagdasaryan is going to look to grapple here because striking-wise, he is at a complete disadvantage against Gene Silva. Gene Silva is one of the best strikers in the division. I mean, his slick striking style with his deadly accuracy and devastating knockout power is none other. I mean, Melzik Bagdasaryan needs to take this down to the ground. Gene Silva has really good grappling, and he's going to be able to use it to defensively keep this on the feet, and I think that we could see a knockout. I really do. I think that Gene Silva's counter-punching abilities are none other, and I see him landing a counter hook on Melzik Bagdasaryan because Bagdasaryan sometimes overextends, leaving himself open to counter shots, and you cannot do that against Gene Silva. Gene Silva is a deadly counter puncher with nasty knockout power, so I got to go Gene Silva. Sitting at a negative 500, I know the value-wise it's not the best, but I see him 100% getting rid of Melzik Bagdasaryan. I think that him by knockout is the call. I think that he's going to mix it up on the feet. I think that we're going to find a counter strike hook to knock out Melzik Bagdasaryan. Sitting at a negative 125, I think the odds are fantastic. I really do. I think that Gene Silva straight down the middle at negative 550 is hard to really get value. Yes, you could throw him into parlays. Yes, I believe he's 100% going to beat Melzik Bagdasaryan because he's a lot better skill-wise. And I like the KO sitting at negative 125. Give me Gene Silva via knockout. And let's throw it to the next confident pick in Anthony Fluffy Hernandez over Brendan Allen. And this is actually a rematch. If you guys didn't know, they previously fought back in 2018. And Anthony Hernandez got the better of him then. And I think he's going to get the better of him now. I think Anthony Hernandez has progressively gotten better. He has been looking very, very good in terms of striking, grappling. I mean, he has a win over Roman Kopylov where he submitted him. Then the win over Michel Pieta where he beat him. He pieced him up and looked good doing so because I honestly was on Michel Pieta's side. I had that completely wrong. Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, absolutely worked him and looked good in that fight. And I think that he's going to absolutely work Brendan Allen. I think that this is going to be a tit for tat fight, but I think Anthony Hernandez is going to win this because of the fact that I think he has a striking advantage. I think that he's the slicker striker. I think that he mixes up his combinations a lot quicker and a lot cleaner than Brendan Allen. I also think that he's better at entering and exiting the pocket with his footwork, a lot better than Brendan Allen. Not only that, I think grappling wise, they're very, very even in terms of grappling, though I do think that Anthony Hernandez has a little bit quicker of transitions in the grappling department. So I got to go with Anthony Hernandez. I think he beats Brendan Allen for the second time. And I think that it's going to be a very close tit-for-tat fight, like I said. And I think he gets it done via decision. That is my call. Sitting at a plus 130 for the decision call. And straight down the middle money line, sitting at a negative 300. I like those odds. I really do. I think straight down the middle, you're getting great value at negative 300. I think he's more than likely to beat Brendan Allen. I also think that the decision is the right call. I really do think that it's going to be a close tit-for-tat type of fight in which Anthony Hernandez walks away with the win via decision, sitting at a plus 130. Those are great odds. And let's go ahead and throw it to my next confident pick in Nursultan Ruziboev over Eric McConaughey. Eric McConaughey is making his UFC debut against somebody who has been in there with the best of them. I mean, Ruziboev is coming off of a loss to Buckley. Buckley is up there with the top-ranked contenders and has been absolutely obliterating everybody. But Ruziboev actually did manage to go the full distance, had moments in that fight, and looked good. So I gotta pick Ruziboev. I mean, Eric McConaughey is decent, but I don't think that he is better than Ruziboev, who has been in the UFC, who has been up against the best of the best, and has showed out time and time again. I mean, he looks phenomenal in the striking department, in the grappling department. Yes, he doesn't have the best grappling, but he has relatively good grappling. I gotta go with Ruziboev over Eric McConaughey. I think that he's going to put on a pace that McConaughey is not going to be able to keep up with. I think he's going to be able to outstrike him. I think he's going to be able to strike from the outside, maintain that distance, not let Eric McConaughey get too close on the inside. And if he does, he's going to use that dirty inside boxing that he has to land some nice elbows, some nice knees up the middle. And that's why I got to go with Nursultan Ruziboev. I think that experience is a factor here. I also think that skill-wise, Ruziboev is better than Eric McConaughey, so that is why I am picking Ruziboev over McConaughey, sitting at a negative 270. I think you're getting great odds straight down the middle. I think that he is highly likely to beat the prospect in Eric McConaughey, who has faced relatively decent competition, but nowhere near the level of Ruziboev. So that is why I'm picking Ruziboev. And let's go ahead and run it to the last confident pick in Andre Fili versus Costa over. I really think that fight goes over, and I think the odds are actually insane, to be honest. Sitting at a negative 385 for the over 1.5, I think it's really, really live. I see a lot of exchanges on the feet happening. I also see some grappling exchanges happening to where they're eating away at that clock, garnering that control time, and just delivering us that over in these rounds. I really think that over 2.5 is also live, sitting at a negative 210. It's kind of insane to me. I think that this fight is one of the ones that is definitely live to go long for sure, because Costa's going to be trying to look to take it to the ground, garner that control time, waste the clock, and then you have Andre Fili who's going to try and stay on the feet, but if he has to, he will land a takedown and he will garner that control time, eating away at the clock. I like both of these. These are tough, durable opponents on both sides. I don't see a finish happening. That is why I'm going with the overs, sitting at a negative 385 for the over 1.5, over 2.5 sitting at a negative 210. And I love both of those values. And if you guys haven't, make sure you guys like and subscribe. And let's run it to my underdog picks of this week in Andre Fili to start it off with. I think that he beats Costa. I think Costa's going to look to take this down to the ground, and use the grappling advantage of his to beat Andre Fili, but Andre Fili has been in there with some grapplers and knows how to grapple. He has good defensive grappling. He knows how to burst back up to his feet when he's taken down. He knows how to use his legs to create that space to be able to get up. Not only that, I think that we're going to see him mainly use the striking. I think that he's a better striker over Costa. I think that he mixes up his shots really well to the head and to the body. He has nice high and low kicks. He also is really, really good with his jab. He's very good at maintaining that distance with his jab, kind of peppering his opponents, keeping them at bay, and he has knockout power. I mean, I get that I really don't see it happening here, to be completely honest, but he does have that in the back of his pocket. Andre Fili is a very, very well-versed striker in which he also is pretty good in the grappling department. So that's why I'm going with Andre Fili. I think that the call here is by decision. I think that Andre Fili is going to beat Costa by decision. I think it's going to be a very close fight, a tit-for-tat type of fight in which I think Fili is going to walk away with it. I really do. I think he's going to outdog Costa. I think that the pace that he's going to set is going to be too much for Costa. I think we're going to see Costa start to fade in the later rounds, and it's going to start to favor Andre Fili over Costa. That's why I got to go with Fili. I think that he's been in there with better competition as well. I think that he's got the striking advantage. I think grappling-wise, Costa has the grappling advantage. But I still think he's going to be able to fare well in the grappling department and even better in the striking department and piece up, pick apart, and outwork a Costa. So give me Andre Fili, and we're actually going to go ahead and throw in a second underdog that I have here, and it is Austin Vanderford over Nikolai. I'm not even going to try and say that last name. I'm going to botch it. But Austin Vanderford over Nikolai. I think that Austin Vanderford is a really, really talented fighter. I mean, his striking looks phenomenal. His grappling looks phenomenal. He's a very well-rounded fighter, and I think he's being slept on here against Nikolai, sitting at a plus 102. I think that he could get it done here. I think that his hands are very quick. He's got clean combinations. I really like Austin Vanderford. He's also got knockout power. He's also really good with his kicks, high and low snappy kicks. He mixes it up, like I said. I think that we could see him land some takedowns as well, garner some control time, and even land some devastating ground and pound on Nikolai. I like Austin Vanderford. I think that he gets it done. He is also Paige Van Zandt's boyfriend. And I think that he is a very highly skilled prospect that could definitely shine in his debut. And I'm really, really excited to see how he does against Nikolai, especially seeing him as a underdog. I really think he's being slept on, and I think he's going to deliver here. And let's go ahead and run it to my Degen props of this week, with the first one being Ruziboev by knockout. I think that he can knock out Eric McConaughey. I think that there's a skill gap in terms of striking. I think he's slicker in the striking department. I also think he has more accuracy and explosiveness in terms of striking. So I think that he's going to deliver a knockout shot. Sitting at a plus 145 to plus 140, Ruziboev by knockout, I think is live. I think that Eric McConaughey at times gets a little bit overzealous and relies a little bit too much on brute strength, leaving him open for somebody who's as technical as Ruziboev to clip and catch him cleanly. And I think that it's live. I like Ruziboev by knockout. And we got the next Degen prop in Andre Fili via decision. I think that Andre Fili wins this via decision, and sitting at a plus 190 to plus 215, I think those are phenomenal odds. I think that Fili has a clear-cut striking advantage. I think that he's the more explosive fighter here. I also think that technique-wise, he has a little bit better of technique over Costa. I think that we're going to see Fili use his grappling to defensively stay up on the feet. We could see him use some of the grappling to land some takedowns, but I really see him mainly using them to defensively stay on the feet and keep this a striking battle where he outstrikes, outworks, and outpicks apart a Costa because of the fact that his striking is better. I mean, it really is. He puts on a crazy pace on his opponents. He has slick hands. He mixes up his combinations. He's got quick hands. I got to go with Fili. And I like the decision call. I really think that this hits the cards, and I think it's Fili walking away with the decision win. And we got the next Degen prop in Gene Silva via knockout. Like I said, sitting at a negative 125, I think that Gene Silva knocks out Melzik Baghdasaryan. I think that Gene Silva has really good striking and really good counter striking abilities. And I think we're going to see him clip a Baghdasaryan as Baghdasaryan gets a little bit overzealous, overextends, leaves himself open for that counter hook. And I think Gene Silva lands that counter hook and puts him clean out on the mat. And then we got the next Degen prop in Song Yadong via knockout, technical knockout. I think that we could see him end it early against Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo hasn't been looking the best. He got absolutely dominated by Merab Dvalishvili. Not only that, he really just doesn't have the drive that he used to. I mean, he's got the podcast. He's got other extracurricular activities outside of fighting. So he really is just kind of taking this as a part-time fighter at this later end of his career. So I got to go with Song Yadong. I think that Song Yadong is on the rise. He just went into a tit-for-tat battle with Piotr Yan, who is next up. I mean, has been looking phenomenal. So I think that Song Yadong really does have good striking skills, has good grappling skills, and will be able to be a veteran in Henry Cejudo, who is just coming to the later end of his career and not looking the best. I think Song Yadong, the surging up-and-coming prospect who has taken a couple losses but has progressively gotten better each time he stepped in the ring. I'm picking Song Yadong via knockout, sitting at a plus 120 to plus 125. Obviously, the odds makers agree with me. I think Song Yadong is definitely live to end this via knockout, technical knockout. I could see ground and pound happening. I can also see him landing an overhand on Henry Cejudo and catching him and knocking him clean out. Give me Song Yadong by knockout, sitting at a plus 205. My apologies. Plus 120 was the decision. Sitting at a plus 205 for the Song Yadong knockout. I think it's great odds. I think it's great value. And I think that he gets rid of Henry Cejudo. And let's go ahead and run it to my parlays of this week. And let's go ahead. As these parlays go on, they get a lot more degen, a lot more risky, so keep that in mind. And let's go ahead and run it to the first parlay in Ruziboev moneyline and Hernandez moneyline, sitting at a negative 122. I like those odds. I think it's very live to hit. I think that Ruziboev beats Makhaniko, who is making his debut and hasn't been up against the level of competition that Ruziboev brings. And then on the other side of it, we got Anthony Fluffy Hernandez over Brendan Allen, where he previously beat him before, and he's going to do it again. And let's go ahead and run it to the next parlay in Ruziboev moneyline, over 2.5 in the Fili fight, sitting at a plus 102. I think that's very live, sitting at plus money. You're getting great value in that one. Ruziboev should definitely beat Makhaniko because of the skill gap. Not only that, over 2.5 in the Fili fight, I feel like it's a lock, man. I feel like Fili and Costa are going to go the distance. I feel like it hits the cards, and I feel like it's Fili walking away with the decision win. And then we got the next parlay in over 2.5 Fili. Silva by technical knockout, sitting at a plus 166. That is one of the degen props I brought up to you guys, and I think it definitely hits. I like the over 2.5 in the Fili, and I like Silva by knockout. And let's run it to the next parlay in Silva moneyline, Font moneyline, at plus 172. Plus money is banger. I mean, Silva is a lock against Baghdasaryan, and I feel like Font is levels above Matsumoto. I really do. I mean, he just fraud checked Kyler Phillips, and he's not going to beat somebody with less skill in Matsumoto? No, I think he definitely beats him. And then let's go ahead and run it to the next parlay in Font moneyline, Song Yadong moneyline at plus 210. Great odds there. I think Song Yadong beats Henry Cejudo because, like I said, he's kind of a part-time fighter at this later end of his career. And Font should definitely beat Gene Matsumoto seeing as he's beaten better competition in Kyler Phillips and has been looking like a young prospect himself. He does not look like he's 38 years old. And let's go ahead and run it to the next parlay in Silva money line, Hernandez money line, and Font money line sitting at a plus 261. I see that as live. I think that it's definitely going to happen. I think those are three great picks. And then let's run it to the next parlay in over 2.5 Philly, Ruziboev money line, and Hernandez money line, along with Song Yadong money line sitting at a plus 270. I mean, I think that is very live. This week, it was very hard to get those super high plus money, seeing as a lot of these lines are very wide, sitting at negative 500, negative 300, along those lines. So sitting at a plus 270, I think that is great odds, seeing as most of those are around a negative 300 and are more than likely to happen. And then let's throw it to the next parlay in Hernandez by decision, Silva by technical knockout, sitting at a plus 314. Those are Degen props, and I see them both hitting. I really do. I think that it's going to be a tit-for-tat back-and-forth fight between Hernandez and Brendan Allen, which is why I think it hits the scorecards. And then Silva, I think he's just levels above Bagdasarian. Bagdasarian doesn't have the striking arsenal nor skill set to really keep up with Silva, and I think he's going to get put down. And let's go ahead and run it to the next parlay in Philly money line, Font money line sitting at a plus 339. Those are the underdog picks of this week, the underdog parlay of this week, sitting at a plus 339. That is amazing odds for two really live underdogs. I think Philly definitely beats Costa, and I really think that Font beats Gene Matsumoto. And let's go ahead and run it to the next parlay, in which is a Degen prop parlay in Font moneyline and Song Yadong by knockout or technical knockout, sitting at a plus 601. I think that this is really live. I get that it's very Degen, but I think that Song Yadong can definitely knock out Henry Cejudo. I also think that Font is live to beat Gene Matsumoto, seeing as he beat Kyler Phillips, like I said previously. I think that is a great Degen prop parlay sitting at plus 600. And let's go ahead and get to the super Degen prop, which is Ruziboev by knockout, Abdul Malik by knockout or technical knockout, and Song Yadong by knockout or technical knockout, sitting at a plus 1,021. I like this. I think that these guys are all live to knock out their opponents. I think that Ruziboev has the striking edge over Eric McConaughey. I think that he's a lot better in terms of striking. He's a craftier striker. He also has cleaner, quicker combinations, and I think he's going to deliver that knockout shot. And then we have the Abdul Malik by knockout, and I think that that is 100% live to happen. I mean, Abdul Malik is going up against Nick Klein, and Nick Klein isn't good at all. I mean, he has relatively good grappling, but so does Abdul Malik, and he's going to use it to defensively stay on the feet and keep this a striking battle in which he will find the knockout shot on Nick Klein. And then you have Song Yadong, who is the much better fighter over Henry Cejudo. Like I said, Henry Cejudo is the part-time fighter here. He hasn't been taking the fight game as seriously as he used to, and he just doesn't have the drive that he used to. So I got to go with Song Yadong. I think he's going to be hungry. I think he's going to want to finishes, and I think he's going to deliver a finish via knockout or technical knockout. I could see ground and pound happening. I could also see an overhand right landing for Song Yadong. So give me Song Yadong by knockout, sitting at a plus 1,021, the Degen knockout parlay of this week. And if you guys haven't, make sure you guys like and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.